Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 424 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our fifth book just came out for Christmas. It's called Perseverance and How to Be a Great Fraternity or Sorority Alumnus. So go and pick up that book today on either Amazon or Barnes & Noble. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, I took a class in college on yoga, and each class ended with guided relaxation exercises that I still use to this day in order to fall asleep within 2 to 3 minutes. If you don't know about guided relaxation, our next guest is going to tell you all about it. Mona Shah Joshi is a passionate advocate for happiness and well-being. Since 1996, Mona has been a dedicated guide, leading teams and individuals on a transformative journey. With Mona on your team, you'll learn how to discover your full potential by harnessing the power of your mind. Mona has helped countless students and faculty navigate academic and personal challenges with greater ease, contributing to a more positive and thriving campus community. With over 200,000 hours of transformative programs across 4 continents, Mona Shah Joshi stands as a beacon of inspiration. Her unwavering dedication to fostering joy, resilience, and renewed purpose has left an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of those fortunate enough to cross paths with her. Welcome to the show, Mona.
Thank you, Mike. It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you so much. It's great to have you on the show. I love all of the topics that you talk about. So I know that our audience is going to be really inspired by hearing all of your conversation. And I usually like to start out with the undergraduate degree and your experience, because that's where all of our student listeners are at right now. And you decided on the University of Maryland, Baltimore County for your undergraduate experience. And I know that you were a very involved student there. So why did you end up choosing UMBC?
They would have me. And I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, I kind of had this feeling that nobody got me. And there was one person who got me, and that was one of my mother's cousins. And I was very close to him. And at the end of ninth grade, he had a freak accident and died. And my world shattered. So this big question of how could bad things happen to good people came to the forefront of my mind. And the next 2 years, I didn't realize it until years later, but I was actually depressed. And that doesn't bode well for your grades. So ninth and 10th grade grades weren't that great. So like I said, UMBC would have me, but it turned out to be the absolute perfect place for me. So I went into UMBC feeling that I had to prove something to myself, that I was capable of so much more than I had been demonstrating in high school. And in UMBC, mid-sized school, Harvard quality faculty, I felt nurtured, encouraged, supported, and was really able to come into my own in so many different ways.
I love it. It sounds like you found the perfect place.
I
So it
did.
worked out really well for you. I love it. Now, you've been working with the Art of Living Foundation. What exactly is the Art of Living Foundation? And tell us how it came about.
So the Art of Living Foundation was founded over 40 years ago by Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar with the sole purpose of bringing back your smile. It is one of the world's largest non-government volunteer-based organizations with centers in 180 countries. I actually came across this when I was in college. So I college was going great.
Mhm.
But I had this crisis of who am I? You know, where have I come from? What are my roots? And I'd been taking courses in African American studies. And the more I explored that field, the more I realized that I didn't know who I was and where I came from, even though we had frequent visits to India. So I went to India, and there I actually learned about the art of living. I didn't know about it prior to that so much. And what's interesting is the huge contrast between how it impacted my schoolwork before and after. So, right before I went, I had my first 4.0, but I was a mess. I typically take 21 and a half credit hours. I was editor of the school newspaper, very involved with other activities on campus. Uh, one of the leaders, movers and shakers as a student. I remember that semester, my father would call me and there'd be like this pause because he would just wait to see if I suddenly broke down in tears because I was so stressed and so overwhelmed. That semester when we went home, I remember telling him, Daddy, I think I failed everything. And he said, Don't worry, Mona, as long as you did your best, it's all we've ever asked for. Now I took and I had a 4.0 for the first time in college. Then I took this course, this breathing meditation program called the Art of Living Part 1 course. And since then, we've developed college programs as well, which I'll talk about, called the Sky Campus Happiness Program. And when I came back to college that next semester, having done this, I remember the first test I had, I got a 93. And I thought, 93, I can do better than that. And that's the thing, I never got anything less than an A. I studied less, I had more energy, my mind was more focused, and there was greater retention. I mean, what more does a college student need, right?
Yeah.
So life life just really transformed in a really beautiful way in many, many different ways.
Wow, that sounds absolutely incredible. I know our students want to hear much more about that. It sounds like you found exactly what they've been searching for. And you've also in that process, you facilitated more than 200,000 hours of programs in 4 continents on meditation, women's empowerment, work-life management. I'll tell you this right now because I just spent an entire weekend with college students in Indianapolis. The college students that I'm meeting, they are extremely stressed out right now. So, in your opinion, what is the number one cause of stress?
It's really quite simple, Mike. It's having too much to do and not enough time or energy to do it. So either we can decrease the amount of work that we have, which may not be possible and could be very impactful in a negative way, or we can increase the energy that we have. And so that's one of the things that we train students to do in our Sky Campus programs is solid, positive, healthy ways and immediate ways that they can increase their energy levels and be more productive and less stressed.
Wow, that sounds like a dream. So let's assume right now that the student who is listening, they start to feel a whole bunch of stress. Maybe they have an exam that's coming up, for example, and they're just really pressured for time and they need to be able to retain all of this information quickly. What is a breathing technique that they can use in order to manage that stress?
Here's a technique that you can do even if the teacher like pops a test on your desk as the professor is passing, those blue books out. This is something that you can do. So you would normally do this with your eyes closed, and it's called a straw breath. So you take a breath in. I'll just demonstrate first, then I'll walk you through it.
Mhm.
So you breathe in through the nose, then make a small opening with your mouth and slowly breathe out as if you're breathing out through a straw. And you only need to do this about 4 or 5 times. In fact, I would advise not doing it more than that. And you could really feel everything in your system relaxing and that stress just being exhaled out.
I love it. That's something everybody can use right away. That's really, really good. I love it. So, I mentioned guided relaxation a little bit in the intro, and that was something that my yoga teacher did at the end of every class. And I noticed that it was just so amazing, and it really has helped in terms of me getting to sleep right away and being able to shut down each of my body parts in succession, and then ultimately stop all of my brain activity. Then to the point where I can just slow down and go to bed right away. But not everybody has access to, let's say a yoga teacher. And I know that there's apps and other things on your phone that you can use. Are there any particular tools that you would recommend for a student to get guided relaxation?
Well, there are two things I would recommend. One is the Art of Living Journey app. It has different relaxations. guided meditations, and it all depends on how much time you have. So that's the beauty of it. If you've got 5 minutes, or if you've got a half an hour, or you've got that need to get something relaxing before you go to sleep, or even a power nap, it's all part of the Art of Living Journey app. But what I would recommend beyond that is to actually take the Sky Campus program and learn these tools for yourself. When I first took it, my mind was so active.
Mhm.
There was no way if somebody said, okay, sit and meditate, that I could sit and meditate without the mind going everywhere except being here right now. But with the breath as an anchor, and so we teach a breathing meditation in this, I was able to really bring my mind to the present moment, release stress and negativity and feelings of being overwhelmed, and really bring in a lot of positive energy and clarity. And that really helped me through school and beyond, of course.
Yeah, those are some great resources that our students can go and check out. I know you're going to give the website at the end so that way they can go right to it. Well, the other thing that you mentioned earlier that I wanted to ask you about, you talked about increasing your energy. Because if the work is piling up, maybe you're not able to reduce the workload, but maybe you could increase your energy on the other side. So, are there particular ways that the students can increase their energy?
Absolutely. So, and they're really basic ways, some of them that we at some level kind of already know, but have not tuned into. One, of course, is sleep.
Mhm.
Getting the right amount of sleep, at least 6 to 8 hours. Between 6 to 8 hours is ideal. Um, and when we go to sleep affects the quality of our sleep. So it doesn't help if we go to sleep at 3 a.m. and then just sleep for the next 8 hours after that. If you can sleep before 10 p.m., and I realize this might be asking a lot for some students, but definitely before midnight. If you notice that if you sleep past midnight or push yourself past midnight, it's a little harder to sleep.
Mhm.
The mind is a little bit more active. So between 9 and 10, you'll get your deepest amount of sleep, but being very practical, definitely before midnight for sure. So
Right.
that's one thing.
Mhm.
Second is to eat the right kind of food in the right amount. So putting more emphasis on foods that are fresh, especially fresh plant-based foods, fruits, veggies, all of that tends to increase your energy versus when you sit down and have a Chicago cheese pizza for lunch. The third thing is breathing. You know, every breath in brings energy, every breath out brings relief and relaxation. We breathe about 10,000 liters of air a day. So a few minutes of breathing practices can really work incredible magic. And the fourth is being aware of what we're putting into our mind. You know, so many of us, our Instagram feeds are filled with, um, like, I feel like there's like a whole bunch of shopping channels that keep getting recommended to me for all sorts of Amazon stuff that I don't need and don't need to clutter my life with. But what we put into our mind affects the quality of our mind, right?
Mhm.
So whether we complain or are grousing all day versus being more positive, intentional, and having that calm, meditative space of mind, that makes a huge difference in our energy level.
Fantastic. Those are some great points. We're going to have to give that a shot. I don't know if I could stay away from Instagram for too long, but I'll certainly give
We
that a
don't need
shot.
to, we just need to be mindful of it.
Just mindful of, maybe mindful of what we're following and consuming.
Exactly, that's it.
I love it. I love it. And you also talk about living a healthier and a happier life. We talked about eating just natural foods, and you talked about vegetables and fruits and plant-based diet. Is there anything else that you would suggest in order to live a healthier and happier life?
There's so many things. One is, for a college student, I would say make a new friend every day.
Mm.
So often we've made our friends freshman year and then that's it, that's our entire circle. But what stops us from being friendly to different people? The person who's making your grilled cheese at lunch, the person who's standing next to you in line, somebody else in the classroom. When I used to teach at the University of Maryland College Park as a grad student, we ran the undergrad classrooms for comparative lit. Every Tuesday I would have the students change where they're seated so that their group discussions would be with different people and they get to know everybody in the class. So making a new friend every day is very helpful.
Mm.
The other thing is be curious and feed that curiosity for things that are beyond your major. So some majors can be so intense and all involving, like, you know, pre-med or engineering, but go ahead and nurture that creative side of yours. Take a drawing class, sit in an art history if you're curious about it. Go do something that's beyond your field and nurture your intellect that way. And the third thing I would say is be goofy, be creative, do things that are out of the norm for you. Keep, exposing yourself to positive new experiences, going hiking, going rollerblading for the first time, doing things that you haven't done before. That adds so much thrill and zest to life.
Great advice. Very nice. I especially like making a new friend every day. I think that's a fantastic
Mm,
idea just to build your network. I mean, that's really the value of college is to be able to have
yeah,
more people, diverse people, and all of those people you're going to meet and build connections with. They're going to be potential customers for you, clients, partners. Who knows what that could potentially turn into? So I think that's a great habit to build from college on. Really nice stuff. Now, I know you gave a TEDx talk on the 5 secrets of abundance. Tell us, what are some of those secrets of abundance?
you know, one secret I would share right away is being generous. We often think that when I reach a certain threshold or certain income bracket, then I'll start giving. But actually, studies have been done that in the United States, middle Americans actually give a higher percentage of their income than do the wealthiest 1 or 2%. And anyone can give. I remember we were collecting donations for some earthquakes that had happened in the mid 2000s. And we were just standing in a mall with a booth, and just some posters, like very basic stuff.
Mm.
There was this little boy who kept walking with his mother and he would tug on her. And then she finally gave like $1 or whatever she gave, I don't know. But the little boy broke away from her, put his fingers in his, denim pockets and pulled out 32 cents. That meant more to me than anything else that was collected that day. We all have the capacity to give. And when we give, we feel more abundant inside. And for the other 4 tricks or the other 4 secrets, I would recommend watching the TikTok.
Definitely go onto YouTube and check it out. It's called The 5 Secrets of Abundance with Mona Shah Joshi. I really like that a lot. And, I'm going to be going to visit my mom in Prescott, Arizona in May. So we're going there just to celebrate my daughter graduating from high school. And I'm always on the lookout for some really good food. And I get the sense that you know some really good places to eat in Scottsdale, Arizona. So, are there any really good restaurants I need to try when I get to town?
Mike, you've got an open invitation to lunch at our house, first of all. And secondly, I noticed that eating intentionally and healthy eating has been one of your goals for this coming year.
Yeah,
So I would recommend Veggie Village, which is a fast food vegan restaurant that, I don't know, it's just delicious for Asian food.
yeah.
And I'm also very fond of New American Green. So they'll give you like a vegetarian Big Mac and all those kinds of things. And if you want something that's elevated and want to take your daughter out because she earned it,
She did.
then there's a restaurant in Chandler called Firangi, which is an upscale Indian restaurant with amazing cuisine.
I love it. You gave some really, really good recommendations, especially because my daughter is actually a vegetarian, so she's going to be looking for some of those options out there. And you're absolutely right. She does deserve every bit of the celebration. She's done incredibly well at school and on her standardized tests. And this is going to be like the last opportunity we have to hang out with her before she goes away
Beautiful.
to college. So I'm going to take advantage, I promise. Those are some great recommendations. I love it. All right. So if our listeners, if they want to connect with you for speaking engagements, because I mean, I love all of your programs, meditation, women's empowerment, work-life management. I think all of that is really important for college students. Where should they go in order to connect with you and learn more about your programs?
There are a couple of ways of reaching out to me. One is through my Instagram account, which is at Mona Shah Joshi. And the other is you could actually just direct email me at monajgd@gmail.com. And yeah, and you can check out the Art of Living Foundation's website at artofliving.org. And we're in about 100 campuses, over 100 campuses around the country. And in certain places like Arizona State, we're offered as a credit course.
Wow, that's really nice to be able to get college credit for that. Fantastic. Now we need to spread that to every university.
Absolutely.
Well, Mona, thank you so much for your time today. This has been a lot of fun, and I know our college students absolutely love learning from you. Hopefully, they're going to go to the Art of Living website to go and check that out, and they'll connect with you on Instagram as well. So, thank you so much for sharing all this great information with us today.
My pleasure. I look forward to more.
All right. And to our audience, if you like this conversation with Mona Shah Joshi, I want you to like this interview and I want you to share it with other college students on your campus. We hope to see you on another episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us, and we're going to see you next time.